Oh my days, Bitcoin man, the stock market man, what is going on? So the word on the street is that things are still looking good for the stock market, according to one of the Fed speakers. But what we're going to do today now is just to quickly update you on what to expect from Bitcoin, because you're probably wondering what on earth is going to happen next. So if you are new, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's get with the program and understand exactly what is going on in this mad world we call trading. Here we go. So stocks get clobbered. That's the word of the day. Here we go. Clobbered. And bonds are moving up, going over into the stock market itself. I mean, you can see the NASDAQ is doing nicely. We did see it take advantage of this little move here. So this is a W formation for those of you that aren't aware of it. And the idea is that NASDAQ always creates these W formations. Now, I've been building positions on this. I'll quickly show you exactly what I'm talking about. Where is she? There she is. So here is my live account, and I've been building positions on this right now with the NASDAQ, and I was getting smacked left, right, and center when I was building positions earlier on. Had to close off those positions, and I started to build a few more positions down below. Started off with 6,000, it was about 6,500, and now we're currently sat on a 16,500, nearly £500 gain for the day, and I'm expecting the NASDAQ to just continue with this rally to the upside to maybe try and take out the daily open. However, I believe that this move itself has been designed for the Nvidia earnings call. And you can see the W starting to work out. But what's important is this. The 10-year bonds market is starting to pull back. And investors are like, okay, maybe this is right now a good time to pick up stock on a discount because of the way the NASDAQ has moved so aggressively. Now, remember, when the volatility index is up, when it's high, you buy. And that's exactly what I was doing on this logic right here of buying when the volatility index was at its highest point of the day. Now, we spoke about this earlier on in the live stream, and this is where you're buying the blood. So now let's see if this trade can work out in our favor and continue to the upside. Happy days. If not, we take a profit, walk away, start again tomorrow. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, what we've got to be mindful of is this. Bitcoin right now is currently trading at the lows. It's pretty much gone to bed and it's in that XRP formation. In other words, it's not doing anything. The question on your minds is what? What's it going to do next? Well, look, as it stands right now, we see lots of traders are getting liquidated left, right, and center. And we've had some more bids coming into play, 13 million at 89,000. And we do have another cluster of bids down at these ranges right here. So we've got to be very careful with the 85K region. Going into that point itself, you can see that Bitcoin's doing well around the range weekly low. We go into higher time frames to put things into perspective for us, and it just looks like a horrible thing. I mean, it is heading towards that 200 EMA, narrowly missing that 200 EMA, which is a very important point right now for Bitcoin. Now, what holders need to be aware of is this. If this daily candle can close as much as it can towards the depth of this actual candlestick itself, best way for you is to go and get yourself a Fibonacci. Take the high of the candlestick range, take the low of it, and make the assumption that if it can actually succeed at getting close as it can towards that 89 zone, then the next daily candle will try and wick into the actual previous wick and then try and make a recovery back up. Logic says that this could be a V-shaped reversal for Bitcoin, but if the stock market is saying that investors aren't looking too good with things, then that might be a bit of a problem for Bitcoin. Going into the ETF itself to see if anyone has been selling, just quickly refresh that. We did see earlier on that BlackRock has been offloading Bitcoin, and it is to the sum of around 1,800 Bitcoin. Just quickly pull it up, and we're not really seeing anything else happening from that point. I mean, there is a lot of selling happening on the ETF itself. Going over into the ETF price action, you can see that it has gapped down, which logic says that we would be expecting them to try and fill this gap at some point in the future. Rolling back over to Bitcoin itself to have a look at the daily time frame. Look, what you've got to be careful of is this. Now that it's trading below the 50 EMA, the next logical thing is that Bitcoin is going to try and make a recovery back up, and if that recovery back up cannot sustain itself above the 50 EMA, which is this purple area here, the logic says that Bitcoin is going to be primed to work itself back down again. To put things into perspective for you, where we could assume an area of support, there's this logic about the hybrid system called the block trade principle. And this logic right now says that the market's memory should be triggered again, which means that the same guys that were offering price over here are going to try and take advantage of price again and buy in this range, because then the logic says that it would then come back up from that range. Okay. Now, the best way for me to put that is like this. So if you look at this area over here, can you see on the daily time frame? Well, no, let's just break it down to a smaller time frame to put it into perspective. So if you look over here, you can see that there is effectively this green area, this green vector candle right here, okay? So the idea is that there were guys that were bidding out in this area, price was going down and they were buying, and then they were getting ready to shift price to the upside. When you take that logic and mark that block and go straight across the chart, what you'll find is something really interesting about this area. You can see that it's the same area that price had effectively reversed from. So what did they do? They marked price lower again and then made the reversal, which in essence triggered the market's memory to get the bids in and then offer price higher. And then, of course, price had made the move to the upside. Okay? So when you're looking at Bitcoin and trying to work out what it's going to do next, you want to try and take advantage of that block trade principle, because all it is about highlighting vector candles, marking them across, and then waiting to see if the market can make its way towards that point and approach it with conviction to get ready to move in the opposing direction. If you want to learn more about the block trade principle, when you become a platinum member, you'll get access to these PDFs that aren't appearing right now because we'll start again. So the PDFs themselves give you a breakdown of each logic about the hybrid system. And the one about the block trade principle would be the checklist part 7, which talks about how to use the block trade. Okay. Now, if you want more on that, get yourself over to the Platinum membership. Everything you need is in the description of this video. Now, going into tomorrow, we do have the Nvidia news announcements that are going to be released. Just quickly going over into Nvidia itself right now. And you can see that it's trading not too bad, to be fair. It's only down 0.91% for the day, which isn't too bad. It's making a nice little bit of a recovery, even getting up towards being positive for the day. That's doing really well. Now, if Nvidia's news comes in and it is favorable, investors will enjoy that, and you could naturally expect Nvidia to start marking up. Maybe that is why the Nasdaq has taken such a nosedive to the downside today, because they're probably bidding price and getting ready to make effectively a reversal to the upside on the good news, if it does turn up, that Nvidia's doing all right with its earnings. Now, with that being said, there are a couple of ways you can actually exploit this behavior. If you trade with BTCC, you'll be able to go over into the actual marketplace. And if you go to tokenized stocks and commodities, you'll be able to trade the NASDAQ, which is ticker symbol TEC100. And of course, you go into it and you can trade Nvidia and cryptocurrency and Forex at the same time. So you can exploit that on tomorrow's news announcements. If you haven't joined BTCC, get involved, check it out. It's in the description. Great for anyone in the United States because you don't need KYC or a VPN. Now, going into it all, as we head in towards the close of the market, you can see Bitcoin doesn't really do too much after a big move to the downside, okay? It stalls, and it can be frustrating to trade Bitcoin at best of times. Now, what you want to wait for is tomorrow, because tomorrow is, of course, going to be a day where Bitcoin's probably going to be trading sideways. The calendar itself doesn't really give us much other than, of course, Wednesday, crude oil inventories, and the G20 meetings. Other than that, it's all about Nvidia. Now, as you go into tomorrow's market, you're probably wondering, would now be a good time to buy Bitcoin? Well, the Asian session tonight could bring Bitcoin down just a little bit more, but the Fed speaker today said that things seem to be okay. And if we just pay attention to the way the Nasdaq's behaving, we could make the assumption that there could be a little bit of a recovery in Bitcoin, given that it has traded below its range daily low. And if you don't know what the range daily low is, on the website, there is a free course called Breaking Down the Hybrid System. So go to tradersreality.com and you'll be able to learn what the range daily low is and all the other fun and games that come with the hybrid system. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this information gives you some benefit and you can understand effectively not to jump the gun and get ready to buy Bitcoin just yet, but tomorrow will be a big news release which will decide if AI is going to take Bitcoin to the moon or Uranus. Mad love and respect.